Welcome to the Manx Theatre Podcast.
Come on to the theatre.
Hello, and welcome back to episode 39 of the Manx Theatre Podcast with me, Neil Callin. Thank you to everyone who's listened to our previous episodes. If you're brand new to the podcast, welcome along and thanks for joining us. In this podcast, we like to try and keep you up to date with what's going on in theatre on the Isle of Man, chatting to the cast and creatives of upcoming shows to find out a little bit more about the shows and the people behind them, and also what our Manx-born and bred performers are doing further afield.
Coming up on this week's podcast.
I'm joined by David Dawson and Rachel Martin from The Service Players, ahead of their upcoming production of Night Must Fall, which is playing at the Gaiety Theatre from the 10th to the 12th of November. You can still listen to all of our previous episodes through all the usual podcast outlets and at manxradio.com/podcasts. Whilst you're there, make sure you give us a like and click subscribe or follow or whatever it is you need to do to make sure you never miss an episode. In the last episode, I mentioned that the Manx Operatic Society were looking for a few people and strong male dancers to fulfil their cast for their 2023 production of Kander and Ebb's musical murder mystery, Curtains. Well, sadly, they were unable to find the people to fully cast the show and have made the difficult decision to postpone it and swap shows. As such, they will now be producing Annie Get Your Gun in March 2023. This is the Stone version of the show, which was rewritten for a Broadway revival in 1999. Annie Get Your Gun tells the story of Annie Oakley when she joins Buffalo Bill's Wild West show and includes the songs There's No Business Like Show Business, The Girl That I Marry, What Comes Naturally, and Anything You Can Do. As part of the cast, they're also looking for 3 girls and 1 boy aged 7 to 15. Anyone interested can get in touch with the Manx Operatic Society via their Facebook page. Sadly, last week we learned of the death of Broadway legend and one of the last surviving stars of the golden age of Hollywood cinema, Dame Angela Lansbury, at the ripe old age of 96. She had a career that spanned 8 decades, and while she had a long and very successful theatre career, she was probably most commonly known for playing the role of author cum amateur investigator Jessica Fletcher in the television series Murder, She Wrote. During her career, she was the recipient of numerous accolades, including 6 Tonys for Mame in 1966, Dear World in 1969, Gypsy in 75, Mrs. Lovett in Sweeney Todd, The Demon Barber of Fleet Street in 79, and Blythe Spirit as recent as 2009, and a Lifetime Achievement Award earlier this year. She also got 6 Golden Globes, an Olivier Award, and the Academy Honorary Award for a Lifetime Achievement in 2013. She also won numerous BAFTAs, Screen Actors Guild Awards, Drama Desk Awards, and Out Critics Circle Awards. In addition to these, there were numerous other nominations for Primetime Emmy Awards and the Grammys. These nominations meant that she was nominated in all of the EGOT Awards. That's Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony. Sadly, she was just missing the Grammy win to be a true EGOT. Younger listeners may be more familiar with her as the voice of Mrs. Potts in Disney's Beauty and the Beast. She was a giant of theatre, and her presence will be greatly missed. On a happier note, this weekend sees the first Musical Con, which is a convention for fans of musical theatre. It's being held at XL London on the 22nd and 23rd of October, and it'll be a mix of workshops, meet and greets with stars of Broadway and London's West End. There will also be a number of previews of new shows and excerpts from your favourite shows. Guests include Trevor Dion Nicholas from Hamilton and Aladdin, Kerry Ellis from Wicked and We Will Rock You, Ben Foster from Jesus Christ Superstar, Evita and Phantom, Leighton Williams from Rent, Hairspray, and the current touring production of Everybody's Talking About Jamie, and stars from Six, Heathers, Get Up, Stand Up, Come From Away, Les Mis, The Waitress, and many, many more. Hopefully, it'll be a huge success, and we'll be back next year bigger and better than ever, and we can all go. Speaking of Leighton Williams, he'll be visiting the island on the 4th and 5th of November to hold some Jamie-themed musical theatre workshops at the Gaiety Theatre. There'll be 3 workshops over the Friday evening and the Saturday morning, with a session for 8 to 12-year-olds and another for those aged 16 plus on the Friday evening, and for everyone aged 13 plus on the Saturday morning. You can book a place through the Villa Gaiety website, where you can find more information, or by calling 600 555. Make sure you keep up to date with what's going on between episodes by following Manx Theatre Podcast on both Facebook and Instagram, and at Manx Theatre Pod on Twitter. Okay, down to business. I'm joined on the podcast today by David Dawson and Rachel Martin from the Service Players ahead of their upcoming production of Night Must Fall. David, Rachel, welcome to the Manx Theatre Podcast.
Hello.
Hello, thank you.
Actually, David, it's welcome back, isn't it?
It is after a few years now, about 3 years.
Yeah, but 3 years ago you were on with Neil ahead of the Addams Family. We played Gomez.
It was the Addams Family, 2019, yeah.
And you won an award for that as well, didn't you?
I did, yes. I got, for the Region 2 for Noda up in Blackpool, we got the Best Actor Award in Noda, so very happy. It was a lovely and nice surprise, actually.
Congratulations. Right, well, you're here today on behalf of the Service Players, and we're going to talk about Night Must Fall, which is their upcoming production. This is a bit of a spooky, bit of a thriller, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose you could say it's. I wouldn't say too spooky. I'm not
psychological,
sure.
Isn't
it's definitely
it?
psychological. There's kind of from the off. It doesn't try and shy away from what it is, and it doesn't try and hide things. It's not too much of a. It's not very much an Agatha Christie twist or anything like that.
Right.
It's just dark. But there is some comedy, I think, as well. I find it quite funny, actually.
Yes, yeah. There are a couple of characters that have, some great lines, yeah.
Brilliant. So what can you tell us about the story then, without, no spoilers, just sort of give us the best sort of overview as you can.
Well, I think for those who've had to put up with my ugly mug all over the island, and the tagline about what a face can hide, effectively, it is about how people can get away with things depending on who they are and how they act, and how actually do we really know the people we are meeting and dealing with. And yeah, there's been a murder, there has, and there may be more throughout the show, who knows. And we follow over a few days. It's basically that real lovely classic kind of play where it's just set effectively in this manor house, and we focus in there, and we meet the beautiful owner of the manor house, and the rest of the staff, the help and things, and then my character Dan appears, and he stays around. And he may not be exactly what he appears to be. Maybe not.
Maybe not.
Who knows?
And it's set in Wales, is it, or is it?
No.
Dan Welsh.
we have a cast that's full of different. Well, you've got a great accent, and then I don't know if you want to explain a bit about yours and your staff and things. But.
So my character, Mrs. Bramson, she owns the house. This house is sort of set in like lonely house in the woods, so it's quite an eerie.
Right.
That's sort of the setting for the play as well. It's sort of an eerie atmosphere, and I mean, yeah, she's an embittered old woman who has lots and lots of ailments without having anything specifically wrong with her, I would say. But yeah, so she's got some loyal staff, and she's very difficult to deal with. And yeah, and she has her niece who works for her, Olivia, and they have quite a complex relationship. I mean, she's very, very unpleasant to her, to be fair, but Olivia is very loyal. Yeah, and we introduce these characters, then Dan comes in. I don't know where the play is actually set, to be honest.
We've got
the rest of us don't have
a couple of
Welsh
Londoners,
yeah.
Some from Manx, and it's weird because it literally states it in the play. One of the servant girls who knows Dan or knows of Dan basically said it's sort of Welsh. So that kind of straight away is that's what I have to go with. So it's sort of Welsh.
The writer of the play was Welsh.
Yes.
So, but the original film, which was I think about 1937, he's actually Irish. He has an Irish accent,
which would have been easier for me.
Well, sometimes you do go into Irish. To be fair,
I think Irish. I think I've gone Geordie a few times with it. So yeah,
I think there's probably a very good chance that Dan isn't Welsh. So the fact that the accent wanders a bit.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's kind of one of those ones where, though, you don't want to, and this is where that sort of always comes in. This is one of the first things I talked about to Lisa, the director. The last thing you want is a person who maybe doesn't know the show to sit there going, what accent is this person doing?
Yeah.
And so even though it's a sort of Welsh, we've tried to kind of go in with a bit of a soft Welsh, so it is there, and people know that he is, potentially from Wales. But he is a character, and the biggest thing about Dan is he's a joy to play because he is constantly acting. We never really see who the real Dan is, so there is the potential that no, it is just all fake and he's not Welsh at all. But it's the dynamics of how from where he starts, from this real charming character and real almost youthful and safe maybe as a person you'd think to be around, and then it just goes off, and he's so much more complex. And I think that's where the joy is. I mean, it was John Pertwee who played Dan the first time around at the Gaiety 80 years ago, so it's quite big shoes to step into. But I love it. I mean, I'm a character actor, so this is a really nice role to be jumping into.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, this year is the Service Play's 80th anniversary,
Yes, yeah.
and the reason why it's being staged is because this was the first production that they ever put on, isn't it?
Yes,
It did, 1942, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't. It's amazing how that kind of connection with John Pertwee is all, I think, a great connection anyway, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's nice to be bringing that back, and it hasn't lost anything through time, I don't think.
No.
It is a period piece, by it's kind of turn of the century, I suppose you could argue, give or take. And the nice thing is, there's real beautiful sarcasm and black humour, and it's subtle, but it's there, and that's what I really love from every character. They are all really interesting characters, and we have a great cast. We've got some brilliant people on that stage with John Snelling, who I've worked with, and Ian Dixon quite a few times. So it is wonderful. But yeah, every single one, brilliant cast.
So you just touched there on Dr. John and Ian. Who else have we got in the cast? Who makes up the film?
So Rachel Jogan is Olivia, and we've got Kelly Firth, who's my maid, Dora. Yes.
So which character does John play?
Oh, he's the detective inspector.
Right, Inspector Belsize.
Yes.
And Ian is playing Humphrey?
Hubert.
It's been a long day. Hubert.
Yes.
Hubert.
Oh, I'm sorry, Claire Calzer.
Yes, there we are.
Claire Calzer is Mrs. Terrence. That's
right.
a terrific character. She's the sort of head maid, is she? She's
Yeah,
sort of like,
she's the cook, I suppose.
the
is
cook,
it really?
yeah.
So, but
The Mrs. Hughes.
Yes.
Like in Downton. Yeah, she's like the
Yes.
Mrs. Hughes.
Yeah, very much
in charge
so.
of downstairs.
Yes, yeah, definitely that.
But it's
Yes,
definitely with Mrs. Terrence, which is Claire's character, and myself, Mrs. Bramson, as the not very pleasant owner of the home. They have a very good, like, Mrs. Terrence doesn't put up with Mrs. Branson's nastiness, she's a tough character.
Probably the only person who can
And-
keep her in her place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and she does speak her mind. She's an Essex lady, and so they're brilliant. The two of them,
Yeah, really are.
the two characters are so well written. Yeah,
Marvellous.
and we haven't missed anybody else, have we?
Lord Chief Justice?
Oh, Matt Cox.
And on Nurse.
Oh,
Nurse
sorry,
Libby.
Helen McKenna. Oh, gorgeous Helen. I'm sorry.
Oh, well,
yes.
yes.
Sorry. Yeah, it has been a long day. So I apologise to them all now.
I mean, it's about 3 weeks to go, 4 weeks to go?
It will be 3 weeks Thursday.
Oh, Lord.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
So
You won't sleep tonight.
No, I won't.
I was going to ask, is it in a good place?
I think it's been, it's for me. I mean, I can't speak for the rest of the cast. I think they're doing fantastically well. It's been a busy year for me. I mean, this will be the 8th production I've been involved with this year, and it's come off some big shows for me with Hunchback and Once. So I'm kind of, I'm not going to lie, I'm tired. However, when we were just getting into the theatre for Once at the end of August, and Lisa contacted me and said, would you think about getting back on stage? And I think this part would really suit you. And yeah, it has. It's been since 2019 since I've been on stage, and I thought, I'm really going to have to.
Could be Spamalot with the last one, was it?
It was Adam's Family. Adam's Family, I think,
Adam's
was
Family,
there,
yes.
and then before that was Spamalot. So it was a case of I kind of bit a handoff because I kind of wanted to get back on, and it sounded like a great character.
Yeah.
And then I kind of thought, November's not actually that far away. And then I saw the script and went, that's quite a lot of lines. So it's been a challenge because it's been quite a while since having to try and learn those lines. And also, I don't know about you, Neil, but I'm very much I learn through the rehearsal room. So
Yes,
it's
yes.
with people around me, in moving in how I need to move. So I do find sitting there and reading lines are really hard, actually.
Yes.
But that's kind of what I've had to do because of time elements. So it is going to be. I really do believe it is going to be a great show. I just think we're going to put the grind in. I think to get it there, and there is still what to do. But I would be worried if
You don't want to be
if
ready
there
too
wasn't.
early, do you?
Exactly. Yeah.
Great. I mean, like I said, you have had a busy sort of 12 or 18 months
Yeah.
with being in the director's chair rather than on the stage. So, how did that come about then? How did you sort of first foray into the?
Well, I love the people often ask me which I love more, and I can't there's no one or the other because they're so different, in
Yeah.
my opinion. One is very personal. When you're acting on stage, it is an ego boost. It is adrenaline. But the directing side is something just beautiful because you are putting a puzzle together. You're putting a vision in your head together, and you are helping people along. And that's where it's really beautiful because you're guiding people. And you're trying to get the best out of those people, and when you see them do so well, it's kind of like a proud dad moment, I suppose, is the best way to think about it. So I've been directing for quite a few years on small stuff, school shows and my own things with Avenue Q originally, and then we had the Wizard of Oz Panto and such, and Little Mermaid Junior with Three Legs Productions, and it's kind of grown from there. And I was just really very, very lucky to be given the opportunity by Douglas Choral Union, who I've been a member of for many years now, to come on board as the director for Shrek. And apart from it being when COVID hit and we had the nightmare of that, it did go brilliantly, and that was from an amazing team. And that's kind of what you do need around you. You do need an amazing team, and you need people to trust you as a director. And then we were very lucky. Hunchback is always one I've wanted to star in or direct, and that came along, and that was just something else. That was very just amazing.
Yeah, and the work that Steve Dakin did with the choir was, it was amazing.
I'm really lucky. Steve, I work with Steve at King William's College, so and he has been a real gem to the island. I mean, he's on the art. He's got himself in a lot of pies. He's in the Arts Council. He's here, there, and everywhere. And things. But he is a real talent, and we bounce off each other really well. It's a real strength to strength. We have each other's backs, and he's a leader of his game. He really is, and it's been great to have him on board and kind of on that journey, and hopefully for many more shows to come. So, and we went from Hunchback into Once, and I have to say, I didn't think, from the reaction we got from the Hunchback of Notre Dame, I didn't think we'd see it for many, many years to come. And it was a different reaction, but to have the feedback from Once was just something else as well. That we took a risk, and it was brilliant.
It's a risk that paid off very well.
Yes,
I'm really sad that I was off island for the entire run. We got back on the island the morning after the show finished. You're just hearing all these amazing reports, and just every time I opened Facebook, it was just, oh my god, how amazing Once was last night. I'm just like, this isn't helping me.
Well, you never know. Maybe once again, but it was special. It was. Yeah.
Brilliant. Rachel, have you ever had any thoughts or desires about tripping into the director's chair?
I have done.
Yeah.
I've directed a couple of one acts. So I really enjoy the one act play festival, which is, it was always February time, but I think actually for next year it's moving to,
I think it's Easter, isn't it?
Yes. It's combined with, so I have, and I did actually 1 year get best director as well for a little play I did. So but the thing is that, obviously I've only done it on a very small scale, but so when you're obviously acting, it's all you think about is you just got your lines to learn. But when you're directing, oh my goodness, I can't imagine for what you've done, David, but I would be laid awake at night thinking everything you've got to organise and sort, and so in some respects for me, it's better for me to act because I get probably more sleep than if I were directing.
I'm sure David would probably agree.
But just wonderful to get where you get some people together and then that end thing where it's all come together, and it's just so just the one acts for me, I think, is time constraint wise would be my directing.
And if people haven't been to the one acts on, it's a must. It's fantastic.
It is.
So I think the Gaiety is a beautiful place, but we have some fantastic venues on this island, and wherever they're going, I would really recommend if you see it come up.
I think it's back down the Arts Centre again this year, isn't it?
I don't know, to be honest. Well, it was this year, yeah. So we did it this year and it was there, but for next year I don't know whether would it be at the Villa because it's combining with the
Easter Place.
So I don't know.
So actually, there's a chance to go and support it. So you still get to be in the Gaiety and you still get to see it. So that'd be great.
Because on an island, it's not that far, but with our island mentality, Port Erin's a long way at the end, isn't it? It's a good half-hour, 40-minute drive down to Port Erin and back again.
It's such a beautiful theatre, though. I absolutely love performing there. Well, you just literally the audience just sat right there next to you, and and people, my friends of mine that have never done any acting, they would say to me, "Oh gosh, I can't believe how nervous you must be." But I say, but they're there to support you. They're not there to have a go. You've got to like take their energy. If they're there to want you to do well, and so I mean, I love it. I love the Aaron Arts Centre.
I get more nervous with auditions than I do with actually performing.
Oh yeah,
definitely.
I think it's because when it comes to the auditions, I kind of I have my version of what I think it should be, but whereas when it comes to the opening night, I've rehearsed it. I've got the director's version. I know what we're doing. I'm bang on and run there, and I know everything backwards and forwards, and we're sorted. But auditions, I'm like, is this right? I don't know.
Yeah, but I think that's. I think it's a good way to have it. I wouldn't want to go in thinking, well, I know I'm fine on this. I think no matter how old you are, how many shows you've done, I think it's always going to be nerve-wracking auditions.
Yeah, I still like that little bit of a jittery buzz on the first night of the show. I think if you don't have that, then you think,
oh yeah, what's the point?
Yeah. That sort of bit of nervous.
The jittery buzz for me though is, oh my goodness, I can't remember any of my lines.
What's my first line?
Oh no, I can. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. I'm okay. I've started. Yeah. I can't remember my first line.
I'm sure we've all been in that position where we stood on that stage going, I don't know what my line is until I say it.
Yes, I've had a few moments. Yeah,
I had a few moments like that in Jekyll and Hyde. To be honest, I wasn't sure which person I was, who I am, where I am. Which is the next line?
Oh dear.
So how did you both get started?
Oh well, for me, I mean, I started when I was at school. Yeah, so just getting involved in plays. I did a few musicals when I was at school, so that it was just I really enjoyed it from being at school. And then I did attempt to apply to Manchester University to get in on like a drama type, and that obviously I had to go for an audition for that, and I had to go first. And I always remember that the piece you had to choose, you're only allowed to do it for 2 minutes, 2 or 3 minutes. You had a time on it, and I did it for that time. And then other people got up and they were doing it for like 20 minutes at a time, and I was thinking, oh, that's a bit unfair. But anyway, I didn't get in, to be fair, but I ended up doing business studies instead. But yeah, so I've just always enjoyed it. And for me, certainly, as I've got older and had a family and everything, it's just an escapism as well. It's just, just because, I mean, I've been in the service players for 20 odd years, and it's just such fun. It's just such fun. You go to rehearsals, you have laughing fits. It's just, it's great. And it's just away from, I'm not thinking about laundry, or I'm not thinking about and as sad as it is, that's what I would, at home when you've got a family and that's what you're doing when you've been at work all day, and then you come back and it's just fun.
It's a bit of me time, isn't it?
Yeah, and I love it.
When you're not mum, you're not dad, you're just you, and you get to sort of go and play with your friends.
Yeah, and I do as well. I mean, I've always enjoyed as well just playing characters that are very different from yourself as well. I mean, whenever you watch plays on TV, the bad characters, the bad house, oh god, they're the best characters to play, because they'll be so far away from what the actor is like in real life.
So much more fun than the romantic lead as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just, but I do annoy my husband by watching things. I'll go, those two have got no chemistry. I don't trust those two. Yeah, and it really annoys him, because he's like, well, to me, they're doing fine. I'm like, oh no, you can tell they don't like each other really.
What I can't help but find myself doing is when you're sat in the theatre and you're like, there's a scene change and you just hear, you go, that's in then.
Oh dear.
How about yourself then, David? How did you get started?
I mean, you probably have to ask my parents this, but I think I was that annoying child who just wanted to entertain people, and
you're the youngest, aren't you?
I am.
Yeah,
I am.
likewise.
Likewise.
There you go. So, and I can really remember. It was play school, and it was Frosty the Snowman, and my mum made me an amazing outfit, and I learned to dance routine. I learned to song. I think I didn't sing because everybody else was singing. That really didn't understand because it was my song. But I do remember it, just loving it, and I just wanted to be doing. I just wanted to be acting. I wanted to be performing. I wanted to be making up stories and going from there. And it kind of just progressed. I was very lucky to have good people around me in terms of teachers and things like that. And then the best thing of all, a really great theatre kind of culture area on the island where we had, whether it was musicals or plays, and you could just dive in and get going. And
you were at Balcomine as well, so you had Chris Mabry there in the drum.
Yeah. So, and that was weird because obviously then I was now directing Chris in once and being like, no, Chris, I need you to do it like this. And it's like, this is weird. But
the student becomes the master.
But it hasn't. It's just kind of gone from there, and I'm just I'm very, very privileged to be on an island which has places like the Gaiety and the companies there with the funds as well, and that's special. So yeah.
And you went away to train professionally as well, didn't you?
Well, I actually went to university, so I went to Chester and did a bachelor course, got my degree, and it was drama and theatre studies, and actually it was a bit of a risk in many ways because it wasn't training that you would get at a drama school. It was a much more an opportunity to look at theatre in the grander scheme of things, and that was a bit hard to take at first because I remember my first year we looked at some really what I would term bizarre theatre.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about theatre, but things that were just, real unique stuff.
Yeah.
But it was still theatre. And for me growing up on theatre, to me when I was a teenager was the Pros Arch, and it was a kick line and it was a song.
Yeah.
And that's, really is still probably what the island thinks of as theatre, really. So it allowed me the opportunity to learn. Mm-hmm. And understand and experience more, and actually probably that's what's helped me more, especially with the directing side. It's allowed me to understand theatre more and the craft more, and different opportunities you can go with theatre and the risks you can take. So yeah, I loved Chester, and it really did me well, and I made some great friends there, and I then came back and been here ever since. I was very lucky to be kind of fell into a good theatre connected job where I was running theatres. So at first it was the Studio Theatre, and now it's King's Court Theatre. Been there for 8 years down at King William's College, and
gosh, really,
that's gone from strength to strength. So yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
but busy.
Yeah, and they've got a great program down there as well. They do a lot of the live streaming stuff, which is fantastic.
Yeah, we were really lucky. So it was my first year there, and we somehow. I managed to get the best cinema experience worldwide for the Royal Opera House and More to Screen, which are the company, the provider, and that was our first year of screenings, and that kind of I've still not really gotten over that. That's been wonderful, and we've just managed to keep investing in that theatre, and it's down to, in all honesty, it's down to King William's College. They want to create a more an open venue for the community. They want to welcome the community in and give them opportunities that maybe aren't so much for Castletown and that area. So it's been great, and if you are interested, there's the Facebook page, so to have a look and come on down and watch some great theatre.
Brilliant. So, as we mentioned a little bit earlier, this year is the 80th anniversary of the Service Players, and over the years there's been some quite wide and varied and diverse productions that they've put on, isn't there?
Well, yeah, I mean, I suppose they've done like a lot of the comedies, the BBC comedies that obviously Alex has done over the years, and we've done one of my favourites actually, which we did actually do it down at Aaron Arts Centre. We did Chekhov, we did Uncle Vanya, which Mike Hoy had directed. And that was just brilliant, getting the costumes and everything for that. So yeah, they do. Yes, a very diverse. Certainly, my 20 years there, I've done lots of different things. Yeah,
historically, I think they were quite well known for picking up all the farces. Weren't
yes,
they?
Yeah. Well, that was when I first started back in 2000. We were doing farces, but actually, the second play that I did with them, which Lisa was in as well, she was amazing in it, 84 Charing Cross, which was just. I think back now, I mean, it's 20 years since we did that with Howard as well. And I think it was Daphne Kane that directed it. And it was just wonderful. We had the staging of it was just where we had, like, obviously have a New York apartment and then we have a London shop. And it was just brilliant. But yeah, the first one I ever did was, what was it? Oh, Fur Coat and No Knickers. So that was obviously, your farce, which, like you say, they were more renowned for, I think,
Yeah, so there was all those Fur Coat, No Knickers and Caught in the Net and all sorts of things like that, wasn't it? Yeah. Always a taxi driver and a bit of mistaken identity. And classic. But also as well, Service Players have just appointed a new president.
Yes.
Obviously, I have a vested interest in this because it's my mother-in-law. So Carol Bester,
brilliant news.
I mean, Carol's been a stalwart of the Service Players for many, many, many years, having started off as the pretty girl, the blonde bimbo part, and she's directed herself, and she's been on. I think most recently her parts were I can't think of the name now. She's the old lady that used to make the beetroot and coleslaw sandwiches in Vicar of Dibley, and also she was the the mad deaf woman in Fawlty Towers.
Mrs. Doyle's there. Is it Mrs. Doyle from...
That's Father Ted.
Father Ted.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Yes. So
yeah, that's brilliant news, yeah.
it's brilliant news
Yeah,
because Jean, sadly, she died earlier this year, was it? Or was it last year now?
Last year, I think.
Year, yeah.
Yeah, last year.
But
But Jean did actually, so what year did we do Uncle Vanya? Was it 2018, 2017? But Mike had got Jean to be back on stage for that, which was
Yeah.
amazing. And she, of course, I'd never seen her act before. So yeah, she was wonderful. Yeah.
Great. So the director then for this show then is Lisa Smith.
Yeah.
And she's been, well, like you said, she's been in Surface Place for quite a long time now. And she's written and she's directed herself as well. So
Yeah. I was going to say, Lisa and I started together.
Yeah.
So we were both working down at Castletown, and somebody had actually put out, a lady called Jan had put out an email saying that she was auditioning for a plays, if anybody wanted to come along.
yeah.
And I didn't know Lisa that well at the time, but we both turned up to, I think it was the British. It was the old room upstairs of the British, not
Yeah.
as nice as it is now.
No.
But yeah, we both went, and that's how we both got started. So Fur Coat and No Knickers was the play, obviously,
Yeah.
and that's how so I've known Lisa since both of us auditioning for the first time. So yeah, wonderful actress, wonderful.
She's brilliant. She's great to work with as a
And
director
writer as well.
Yes,
she
and a
writes
director, yes.
as well.
Yeah.
Just one acts, and yeah, very talented.
Yes, I've been quite fortunate to do a few plays with Lisa as director, and she's written me some lovely parts as well, which has been very nice. Okay, over the years then, we'll have all done different productions with different budgets, so therefore costumes sometimes are amazing, sometimes they're not quite so good. But what would you say are possibly the best and worst costumes that you've ever had to wear?
Well, I think most of the things that I've been in, we've had to try and source them ourselves. Well, worst costume would definitely be, for me, I've mentioned it
The
about
fur
6
coat with
times
no
already.
knickers.
Fur coat and no knickers, because I was playing a stripper, and that's a horrendous thought now. And I had to learn to crack a whip as well, and it took me ages to practice to do that.
It's one of those skills you never lose.
Yeah, that was, I don't even want to think. I blotted it out of my mind now, what costume I was wearing. I was a lot younger back then. The best costumes... I'm not sure if I actually ever done anything where we've ordered the costumes. Obviously, I did do Dad's Army, but my character was just in like a suit.
Right.
So I don't know. I'll have to have a think about best.
Okay.
We'll
We'll come back to you in a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah. David, how about you?
So best, I think would probably be Lumiere.
Oh, yes.
Because it was just, but potentially the most awkward as well, because I didn't have hands. I was constantly holding these hair dryers. So that was interesting, but I did love that. And the worst, that's just, it's definitely Herod number 2. Number one I adored, because it was John Cumberledge had brought on this, he basically made me this gold kind of Greek, I don't know. It was. I was painted gold face, gold hair. I had these big bushy trousers, which were
Big
peacock
harem pants or
feathers
something,
with that on, and big gold boots, and it was bizarre, but it was great.
Yeah.
But then second time round, so Herod's second time round went through lots of, I think we're going to do this with him, and it changed it around a little bit. And so I was like, okay, so at one point there was the potential that I would be in, it would be a swimming pool, and I would be in budgie smugglers and a towel. Like, okay, I don't think people want to see that, but all right. And then it was actually, no, we're going to do like a montage where it's you playing, or Herod playing famous people throughout time, Marie Antoinette, Chaplin, this, that, and the other kind of thing. That didn't happen. So then I got into the theatre, and I was handed these little blue sequined top and some short thing, and then that would be underneath this kind of suit that would be like a boating suit, which would be revealed. But it wasn't great. So I decided, I was like, well, this is just... I'm not wearing this. I threw my toys a little bit out of the pram. So I thought, I'm going to go and see if I can just find something which I think would work a bit better.
Yeah.
And that made me go straight to Ann Summers when it was open. I got nipple tassels. I got a ball gag.
Yes.
I got fishnets, and then I went and got a leather jacket, and I went down a bit more of a Rocky Horror-esque with it, and that's what stuck. So, but it still is probably I did not enjoy that.
But you've only yourself to blame because you picked it.
Well, you know what? It was either go all out or
Yeah.
and I didn't know where else to go with it, so we just did it, and that's what it was. And yes, again, I'm sorry for people who had to see that. So
I had to stand on stage with it every night. It was... okay. That's brilliant. It's amazing how many times people come on and they say like, the best costume is also the worst costume. Like you were saying, like with Lumiere, it was amazing, but it was probably hard.
Yep.
You had no hands.
Yep.
You get Ian and Jonathan talking about Shrek and Donkey. They were just
yeah.
You can imagine, horrendous. Okay, what would you say is your dream role? What's top of the bucket list for you?
It's probably still musical theatre, but I always seem to jump towards Scar, I think, from The Lion King, because he's brilliant. He's just great, and who wouldn't want to play Scar? He's so wonderful, and I'd love the puppetry side of it as well, and his songs and. A good villain, and I think, in all honesty, I think that would be the one I would really love to play. Sadly, it may never happen because The Lion King isn't going to be coming to the amateur world anytime soon, and if it does, it's not going to have the same.
No, I mean,
it's such a costly show.
With so many shows these days now, there's the whole sort of ethnicity element to it as well. They're really clamping down on a lot of them, saying no, you have to have black performers, Indian performers, Asian performers,
rightly so as well,
to fill these roles. Which is and like I said, rightly so. But
but he's the only kind of white member of the cast,
right?
And but still, I think sadly the budget for that kind of show would be astronomical. So, I can dream. I'll just do it in my mirror at home. It's fine.
Rachel, how about you? Is there a dream role?
I'm not sure about a specific dream role, but I do like, and I've already touched on it, about baddie characters. Evil, nasty, anybody like that. And although my character's not as bad as that in Night Must Fall, she's difficult, she's hard work, and I love that. I love annoying everybody because I just like doing that in general anyway with the family. So I love like just wanting to get her own way all the time. And she's not like an evil character, I don't mean that, but I do like the more sort of baddie roles, like I say, rather than the goody two shoes type. So anything that would be I'm trying to think somebody who would be pretty evil. If it was like someone if you did like something like Robin Hood, I mean, it's a male character obviously, but it'd be like the Sheriff of Nottingham or whatever, that sort of role. I like things like that, that's...
Bit of Shakespeare, bit of Lady Mac.
Bit of... Yes, definitely.
I mean, that's another good thing as well.
Yeah.
I mean, you were involved in this last year as well, weren't you? The Paradox Theatre Company, starting up, and they're doing the Shakespeares now, which is great because it's something that's been missing on the island for a long time.
Definitely.
I mean, I've done a lot of musicals, I've done a lot of plays, and the one thing that's missing that I really want to do is some Shakespeare. And because last year the boys came along,
Is
and
this your audition, Neil? Are you auditioning for
you
dropping it £50 on the table and talk?
Just going to push the envelope across. So last year they did Much Ado About Nothing, which is one of my favourites, and Peter, who played Benedict, was just amazing, and Lisa as Beatrice, so she was fantastic. But this year, is it Two Gentlemen of Verona? No, The Merchant of Venice.
It's Merchant of Venice.
Merchant of Venice, sorry, yes.
Yeah, so we're taking it up a bit. It was a great success last year, and we're potentially, I don't know how much I can give away, so I've got to be really careful here, but we may be branching out. That's all I'm going to say. So we might get a bit more of a something special for a few people. So, but still a local cast, and please do come support. It's probably going to be around the June-July time, we think, rather than April next year. So, but it is nice, and it's wonderful to be doing Shakespeare. And I think there's a lot of fear. I think the problem is Shakespeare is meant to be seen. And the problem is Shakespeare is not seen. Shakespeare is first met in the classroom with a book with people who don't really want to be there. So, we want to try and really open up and get people in to see it, because, he's come up with some of the best stuff. It's the reason why he's still talked about and still so famous now, isn't there? Let's be fair. So we're very lucky. With Alex and Charlie who've set up Paradox, it's great. It really is. And I'm really, really grateful again to be kind of, to have been asked to direct with them, and, for I don't know how forever long, until I become rubbish maybe, or until they decide to get somebody better. But no, it's great. It really is.
Brilliant. Well, hopefully then we'll get Alex and Charlie in on a future episode, and we'll get to talk about that when we get a bit closer to the time. Brilliant. Okay. So let's have a look now for our Spotify playlist. So 2 years ago now, just after we came out of the first big lockdown, we came up with an idea to set up the ultimate musical theatre playlist. Neil Callin and myself, we each put 10 songs in for ourselves, and these are songs that either we've sung or performed, they've been in shows that we've been in, or they just mean something really special to us. So we started off with 10 each because we wanted to get the list started properly, because no one's going to look at a playlist that's only got 2 or 3 songs on it, really, are they?
It's very true.
So, yeah, we put 20 in between us to get the whole thing started. Then every person that's been on the podcast ever since has added another song onto the list. So, David, what song would you like to add and why?
So I'm going for a musical which, sadly, not enough people know about. And I think they're put off because of the biblical connection. And it's not Jesus Christ Superstar. It is a musical called Children of Eden, and the book was by Stephen Schwartz, and it is effectively the Old Testament. So it ends with Noah and his family. It starts with Adam and Eve and the children, and it is some of the best music in musical theatre that I've ever heard. And I fell in love with this song, and it became. Really, the reason I'm picking it because I grew up with Ian Dixon, possibly the best male vocal voice on the island. So it was always very hard growing up singing when you have somebody like him as your best mate next to you. You're like, well, what's the point?
Yeah.
But this was a song that it really started to make me believe that actually I wasn't just an actor and I wasn't just maybe a dancer. I could sing. And it's sung by Cain, actually, to his brother Abel, and it's called Lost in the Wilderness. And if you haven't heard it, I implore you to go and listen to not just that, but the full album, because it really is some of the best music that I've heard in musical theatre. And sadly, not enough people know about it.
Well, do you know, I was going to say, it's not a show I know of the show, I've heard of it, but it's not a show that I've listened to. So I'll be getting that on my iPod to listen to it later. Rachel, do you have a song that you'd like to add?
So just before I do, can I just say about Ian Dixon? When I went to our first rehearsal for Night Must Fall, and I didn't know, I'd not met David before, I hadn't met Ian before, and obviously having watched Hunchback, and I was like to Ian, oh my God, you were amazing! You were just so amazing! I was proper starstruck when I saw him.
Totally fangirled.
Because again, he was playing a bad character, nasty character. So far removed from that. Yeah.
Hellfire was an amazing song.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
so sorry, I was very starstruck. I was. Anyway, sorry. I'm going to go for Defying Gravity from Wicked, because my family, husband, kids, we went to London in August this year, and we went to watch Wicked, and it just moved me to tears. It was just that amazing that. I know all musical theatre is amazing, but that was just that song and how she sang it. It was, wow. So, yes, that's why I'm going to go for Defying Gravity.
Brilliant, lovely, great choice. Okay, so, do you know what? I think that's nearly us. So, Night Must Fall then. It's at the Gaiety Theatre from the 10th to the 12th of November. If you haven't done so already, make sure you get your tickets now from villagaiety.com or by calling 600 555. David, Rachel, thank you very much for joining me on the podcast. We wish you and everyone from the Service Players all the very best with Night Must Fall, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you so much,
Thank you very much, Neil. Thank you.
You're listening to the Manx Theatre Podcast with Neil Callin.
Right, well, let's have a little look forward to what's coming up on the Isle of Man over the next few months. So, this weekend, that's October the 21st and 22nd, Move It Dance Studios present their biannual school dance show at the Gaiety Theatre entitled The Seven, with a story that's based around the 7 deadly sins. Next up, Three Legs Productions are back again on the 26th to 29th of October with Moana Jr. at the Gaiety Theatre. On the 21st of October, the Legion Players present Alan Bennett's Bed Amongst the Lentils at the Peel Centenary Centre. Tickets are available from the Peel Centenary Centre and all the usual outlets. They're £20 each and include a 2-course supper. What's not to like about that? Then it's the Service Players at the Gaiety Theatre from the 10th to the 12th of November with Night Must Fall. Also on the 12th of November is Manx Stars in Their Eyes at the Ville Marina. From the 17th to the 19th of November at the Aeronauts Centre, the Russian Players are presenting Peter Gordon's Secondary Cause of Death. You'll be spoilt for choice between the 24th and 26th of November as Parker Snell present Dial M for Murder by Frederick Knott, which is the source material for the famous Alfred Hitchcock movie of the same name. At the same time, at the Balcomune Studio Theatre, Stage Door Entertainment are staging elegies for angels, punks and raging queens. Rounding off the year, we have The Wizard of Oz as the Gaiety Theatre's Christmas pantomime, running from the 17th to the 31st of December. The cast includes locals Leah Carter as Dorothy, Jack Divers as the Tin Man, and Lisa Kreisky as the Wicked Witch of the West. Tickets for all of the above are now on sale and available through the relevant websites for each venue. Just a quick reminder that Kensington Arts are running drama school prep sessions every Thursday during term time from 6:30 to 8:30pm in the ground floor theatre at Kensington Arts. The sessions are £2 each, with the first one free, and are aimed at Year 11s to 21-year-olds who are thinking of applying to drama school. The sessions will explore voice, movement, improvisation and acting. For more information, check out the Facebook page where we've shared the advert from Kensington Arts. Kensington Arts are also looking for students aged 13 to 19 who are interested in taking part in the 2023 National Theatre Connections project. Check out the Kensington Arts Facebook page for more details on how you can get involved. Well, with that, we bring episode 39 to a close. Thanks once again to David and Rachel for joining me on the podcast, and we wish them and all of the service players all the very best for Night Must Fall, running at the Gaiety Theatre from the 10th to the 12th of November. If you haven't done so already, make sure you get your tickets from villagaiety.com or by calling 600 555. Remember to like and follow our social media pages to get notifications of upcoming events and episodes. Don't forget to check out our Spotify playlist by searching for Manx Theatre Podcast, and that's all one word. If you have any events that you'd like us to talk about or promote on a future episode, you can contact us through our social media accounts or by email to manxtheatrepodcast@gmail.com. Well, all that remains is to say thanks for listening, and I hope you join me again next time on the Manx Theatre Podcast. I've been Neil Callin. Goodbye.
The Manx Theatre Podcast, taking a look behind the scenes of Manx Theatre.
And happier than actors alive for me.